Every month we like to take the time to bring you some of the best smaller and indie titles that release each month. Today on gameranx, here are 5 small yet awesome games from March 2018. Starting off at number 5, this one came out at the end of last month, so we missed it, but we wanted to give it some love here. The best way to pitch Deep Rock Galactic is it's the resource collecting of Minecraft meets Left 4 Dead. You play as one of 4 dwarves and you dive into a mine and collecting resources and fighting off waves of alien bugs. Each one of the 4 dwarves have their own unique weapons and tools, with most of them built around working with one another's class really well. The gameplay loop is very simple but surprisingly fun, and that's just jumping into a mine, killing aliens, collecting ore, and getting out. And as you play, you're working towards collecting enough currency and resources to upgrade your character both cosmetically and stat-wise. This is also a great co-op game if you have someone to play with. The enemy scales up too, so the more people you play with, the harder it gets. And it can get pretty chaotic when you're playing with a full 4-player group. This is still in early access, and the gameplay loop does get a little bit repetitive, but as of right now in its current state, it's a lot of fun, and I'm really excited to see what else this game has to offer leading up to its full release. Moving on to number 4, Surviving Mars is a sci-fi city builder where you're actually building and colonizing on Mars. If you've played any city builder, you know what you're getting here. You'll be researching new technology, building up your city or colony, collecting resources, and taking care of your citizens. Except here, each individual citizen is actually unique with their own traits and issues, so not only do you have to worry about keeping them alive and happy, but you have to worry about how their traits could have an effect on everyone else, because they can have a negative effect on other colonists, which could lead to being harmful to your entire colony. Aesthetically, this game has something really cool going on. It looks very 1960s, but has a future-y take on it. Similar to Fallout, but instead it's super colorful and bright, and there's a lot of red, obviously because it takes place on Mars. It doesn't seem to be doing much to really change up the genre, but if you've been into other city builder games like City Skyline, SimCity, or Tropico, you're getting a fun game here with a kind of different setting. Coming in at number 3, we have Medieval, which is the newest game from the creators of Rise of the Triad, which is just as fast-paced and crazy. If you're a fan of classic FPSs like Doom, Quake, and Heretic, you're gonna love this. It plays like a fast-paced arena shooter and has old-school looking graphics, and both of those complement each other really well and really help to make it feel like an old-school game. And while the graphics do look very old school, I will say that they're really sharp, like surprisingly sharp. It's a very pretty game. This is an early access game, so it only launches with 3 of the 7 worlds, but the 3 they launch with are pretty good. Each one feels different than the last, and they also have their own enemies as well. It also comes with an arcade mode where you're just taking on waves of enemies, and this is actually how I've spent most of my time playing, because the game controls so well that all I want to do is just murder everything. The way it looks and the way it controls makes this game a lot of fun, and if you're looking to play an old school game without actually playing an old school game, this is definitely something to check out. And at number 2, we have Warhammer Vermintide 2, which is yet another addition to the Warhammer series, which, if I'm being completely honest, I can barely keep up with the amount of Warhammer games that are released. Vermintide 2 is pretty much just Left 4 Dead, but you're fighting rats instead of zombies. There's also a loot system and RPG elements in place as well. You can choose from one of 5 different characters to play as, with each having their own set of weapons and skills. You and 3 other players jump into the world and start hacking away at the hordes of enemies the game throws at you, and it isn't easy by any means. It's actually quite difficult. Combat is pretty simple, using one mouse button to attack and another to block, but with each weapon feeling different, combat always feels a little bit different and pretty hectic. There are only 13 levels available, so you'll be repeating levels and grinding to level up your characters, but the game is smart with its enemy spawns, so repeating levels doesn't really come off as repetitive because enemy types and spawn locations change each time, which works pretty well with helping to change it up. This is something I can definitely see myself dumping a silly amount of hours into, as long as I'm playing with the right group of friends. Finally, at number 1, this next game is actually a mobile game, and it's been out on iOS for a month now, but it just released on Android this month, so I finally got a chance to play it. Florence is an interactive visual novel that tells a story of love and self-discovery. It's mostly something you watch. There really aren't any puzzles or anything. It's mostly just interactions, just to keep you engaged with the game, I guess. The story is told mostly with visuals. There's only a few bits that actually involve any text. The music also plays a very important part with setting the tone, and the music is just straight up phenomenal. The way it's used is perfect. You'll explore different parts of a relationship like first dates, moving in together, fighting, talking, really everything. And the way you interact with certain scenes is really smart. Like there's one where you're on a date and you're piecing together a puzzle to form responses to your date, and as you talk more, the pieces become bigger and easier to place because talking is becoming easier and easier. It does a lot of really cute things like this, and it does hit you right in the feels, so if you're a crier, that might happen, just a heads up. And as a quick bonus for you, we have PC Building Simulator, which I know sounds kind of funny at first, but it actually looks really cool. You can play in free build mode where you just build whatever you want and you're able to use a ton of officially licensed parts, or you can play career mode where you actually run your own PC repair shop. Here you'll be repairing PCs and also building brand new ones. Yeah, it looks kind of silly, but it also looks like a lot of fun, and hey, maybe it'll actually teach you a thing or two about PCs. And those are 5 small yet awesome games from March 2018, but we want to hear from you, so meet us down in the comments and let us know what you think. Are there any games that you've been playing that we missed this month? And if any of you have checked out any of these games, what do you think? And as I'm sure you already know, hitting that like button really helps us out, and if you're new here, subscribing is also a good idea because we put out videos like this every single month. As always, thank you for coming to hang out with us. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time right here on gameranx.